Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Witness and I'm your host Quatrina Hossain. Pakistan's political landscape these days is just evolving like one of those movies you see where the big glob comes in and like floats through cityscapes or whatever. Well, perhaps that's not the best analogy in the world, but what I can definitely say is that people are now definitely flicking out the calculators, doing the permutations, how many numbers, how many seats, how many votes to win. Yet we are more than a year and a half away from the general election. The big shock to the ruling Pakistan People's Party came yesterday when the former foreign minister and senior leader of the Pakistan People's Party not only resigned his seat and his position in the party but also his National Assembly seat. That has now brings it to two politicians who have resigned their National Assembly seats. The first being Marvin Mehman of the PML-Q, who resigned during the budget session, saying that she could not, in all honesty, support her party's decision to join the Pakistan People's Party. And Shah Mehmood Qureshi now becomes the second member of the National Assembly to resign his seat, citing differences with his party leadership. His press conference was aggressive and very, very specific about the fact that he says that his party, or the Pakistan People's Party that he had joined, was no longer the same party. Now, of course, permutations, combinations, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf continues to make waves on the Pakistan political scene. What were earlier seemingly done deals, like the like-minded group of the PML joining the PML-Q, Humayun Akhtar and company, it was generally perceived that they would be joining the PML-N. That now seems to be a little up in the air. Shah Mehmood Qureshi's people say that when Shah Mehmood Qureshi announces his decision to join a political party, which is most probably going to be Tehreek-e-Insaf if we go along with what Mr. Imran Khan said, then it is likely that Shah Mehmood Qureshi will be able to break away some MPAs from the People's Party in Punjab. There already exists a unification bloc in the Punjab Assembly as well. All these combinations, all these permutations, and in the midst of it all, the Clean Party, the party that is headed by Mr. Jahangir Tareen, a former federal minister, is likely to announce its entry into the political fray fairly soon. They already have, but they're going to go public with it. And amongst all this, the backdrop, of course, being the Pakistan famous political jalsa. Does that really change the power of balance in this country? Well, we're going to explore all these issues and more. Allow me to introduce my guests in the studio. My first guest today, Shahnaz Wazir, an MNA from the Pakistan People's Party. My second guest today, Lieutenant General retired Abdul Qadir Baloch, a member of the National Assembly from the PML-N. And my third guest today, Mr. Raoof Hasan, the Central Vice President of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. I welcome you all to the program today. And Ms. Wazir, clearly Mr. Shah Mehmood Qureshi's defection from the Pakistan People's Party has drawn some hurt, because the reaction of your party leadership has been just about as vicious as Mr. Shah Mehmood Qureshi's reasons for, or rather his stated reasons for leaving. Has Mr. Shah Mehmood Qureshi's defection really hurt all that much?
Well, I would say that I don't think it has really come as a total surprise, because as you know, Mr. Shah Mehmood Qureshi had been expressing his reservations and his sense of disappointment with the party for quite some time, and he had taken issue with the party on certain matters. And he has made his position quite clear several months ago that he was not completely in line with the party policy. So of course, you know, everybody, it's a free country, it's a democratic country, and people have a right to change their minds. They have a right to align themselves with whichever party they choose. Certainly, I think that what we would have expected in the People's Party of every single member, and particularly long-time members of the party, is to have taken up all their differences, their grievances, or their unsettled issues or unresolved issues on party policy, etc. Presumably it is on policies rather than any personal issue that he has taken a stand. That these issues would have been taken up within the party councils.
Is this the first crack? Is this going to widen?
I don't think, I would not call it a crack, Quatrina, at all. I do think that, of course, it's caught the headlines because Shah Mehmood Qureshi has been a member of the party for over 21 or 22 years. He did work with Mohtarama Benazir Bhutto Shaheed and both the governments, and he had been a stalwart of the party.
He was one of the potential prime ministerial candidates, and yet he criticized the Gilani government. He mentioned Prime Minister Gilani by name and saying that he has failed as a prime minister.
I want to also, I think, just go back and recall in the last 3.5 years of government that when Mr. Qureshi was the foreign minister, and it was the same Prime Minister, Mr. Yusuf Raza Gilani, it was the same President, Mr. Asif Ali Zardari, and by and large it was the same set of foreign policies as well as domestic policies that were being followed. Mr. Qureshi, as I recall, has hardly ever in the 3 years that he was foreign minister taken very, very serious issue on policy matters. He expressed his views in cabinet meetings like everybody else does, and I think that's a very healthy sign. But I just do think that at this point he's obviously reassessed the situation, and for whatever his reasons are, he's decided to make a clean break. At the same time, I do believe that the party, of course, does continue to have a very, very strong base amongst the masses and the Awam of Pakistan, and particularly in the rural areas.
Okay, that's exactly where I'm going to go.
That is very important to continue to recognize that.
All right. General Baloch, your party, of course, has held a very large rally as well on October 28th, just 2 days before Imran Khan's rally in Lahore. Shehbaz Sharif launched his Go Zardari Go campaign, and now I'm told that Mr. Nawaz Sharif, it has been reported, is going to kick off campaigns across the country. What can we expect on November 20th in Faisalabad? That's been being given as some kind of indication that the PML-N is going to be doing something dramatic. Give us a hint. What's going on?
I think we need to wait and see as to what could happen.
Oh, that's not fair. That's too tantalizing. I don't think I can wait till Sunday.
And we think that we have got a strong support base all over the country, and equally well poised we are there in Faisalabad as well. We have majority of the seats from Faisalabad, and we hope that it's going to be a very good show.
Prime Minister Yusuf Raza Gilani has
earlier rally of ours on 28th was a provincial matter. It was Punjab Chief Minister's basically rally. Our central leadership was not there. He was the one who addressed it. He was the one who had organized it. And it was a reasonably good show in whatever place he had decided to have that rally.
Why do you say that? Now, should I mean that when you say it was a provincial matter, but Mr. Shehbaz Sharif was clearly saying Go Zardari Go, which was referring to the President of Pakistan, that makes it a national matter, not a provincial matter?
It is very much, as far as party's stance is concerned, he is representing the party. He is a very important member of the party, no doubts about it. I mean, he is number 2, number 3 of the party. So that way he was giving actually party's line of action and party's line of demand. And that's why he said, and anybody for that matter, any rally held anywhere, whatever has been spoken there, it should be party's line, and he was following party's line, and party's line is that with the Zardari being there,
Who bothers you more, the Pakistan People's Party and President Zardari, or Tehreek-e-Insaf and Imran Khan?
Tehreek-e-Insaf and Imran Khan are a new phenomena in the politics of Pakistan, and well, they were very much there, no doubts about it, but their appearance, especially on their show on 30th of last month, made some difference, and that needs to be taken into consideration. I am surely we are also taking into consideration. We are giving it serious thought as to whether there could be a threat or not, whether there could be something which needs to be bothered about or not. But as far as Mr. Zardari is concerned, I think we feel that they have totally failed as far as their response to the needs of the public are concerned. For the public, they have done nothing so far, and public is fed up with that. See the prices as to what's happening. See as to what are they doing with the electricity prices. See as to what they are doing as far as fuel prices are concerned. See as to what's happening on the land order front. And I think we feel, probably our party feels, that if they are permitted to continue any further, the things might go to a point where from probably return might become very difficult.
All right, Mr. Hasan, this brings me to the role of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, a new entrant in terms of the fact that perhaps being taken more seriously, because Tehreek-e-Insaf, of course, has been around since 1996, but the Lahore rally probably changed the assessment of the party's capabilities. But one of the big concerns being expressed by a lot of people is that Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf could simply be the spoiler in the game and distract attention from matters of governance.
Well, I think I've addressed this concern in the past also, and this kind of rumor is being spread by those who feel the most threatened by PTI's emergence in a big way since October the 30th. Our contention is very simple and basic. We are providing to the people of this country a clear choice between the parties of the status quo the parties which have brought this country to its present low ebb, and Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf and Imran Khan. We are providing
Is the
this
PTI going to
clear
split the vote bank of the PML-N or the People's Party?
Well, we basically, we fighting for a change, and we're fighting for change, and we want to replace the status quo with a system, that delivers to the people of the country.
I understand that that's a very idealistic statement, but my question is, whose vote bank are you likely to dent, the People's Party or the PML-N?
We are going to dent both vote banks, the vote banks of the People's Party and PML-N, and we as such, are not targeting one of them. We are targeting all that these parties stand for, the status quo and all the ills that are associated with that status quo. Our fight is for a change. Our fight is for change.
Okay, General Baloch, the obvious thing over here is that you have to decide now what is more important, Imran Khan or President Zardari?
First of all, I say it's President Zardari who's far more important. The government in power, at this moment, Imran Khan is not in power. And we are more bothered about the public as to what are they looking for and what are they expecting from us and what is their demand from us. At this moment, everything is there with People's Party. Our target that should be number one. And once Tehreek-e-Insaf comes on the scene, and thereafter it will be seen as to how could we counter them. But Mr. Raoof said something about the change. He said that, I had already written it, I thought that this was going to come. Change of what? Change of the form of government? Are they asking for a presidential form of government, or they are going to change this parliamentary system of government, or what? Change of the economic system? Capitalistic system, Islamic system, or a socialist system. Change of the governance system, local government, or this commissionerate system, or what? People of Pakistan need to know about it instead of all these vague terms which being used that we are going to change everything, we are going to bring in something very, very revolutionary. We say that whatever we are thinking about and whatever we need to bring in, I think that we call that also, we equally call it revolutionary and totally different than what the way...
Revolutionary, that's not a word I associate with the PML-N.
What I mean to say is it's going to be totally different than what's being done today.
I want to talk about one issue. Mr. Hasan, I'll let you respond to that. But General Baloch, one very important thing is that Pandit Yusuf Raza Gilani issued a fairly clear warning to opposition parties saying, don't violate the constitution, don't violate the law. Trying to overthrow this government by street power, do you think that that is a valid form of...
Street power has never been a non-democratic way, it's never been an illegal way. This is the democratic way of expression of one's views once the public, once it comes to the common man. Public in the street, they come, but taking the law in their own hand, that way it becomes illegal. That way it might become unconstitutional.
Don't you think that is inevitable?
Well, that's going to be regulated. That's the reason that public, basically it was initially the public which came out on the streets of Pakistan, and PML-N went into the streets so as to regulate that and discipline that.
You're talking about the electricity rights.
So that, yes, electricity rights that we're talking about.
Right. So
that they don't create an illegal or unconstitutional problem for the government, and so that a situation does not arise wherein someone else may jump in and come into it.
Okay. Ms. Wazir, I have to ask you...
There's nothing unconstitutional about it. It's all over the world. It's been happening even in developed countries also. In UK, in Germany, in France, and even in America also, people have been coming and demonstrating and talking about it.
But not overthrowing governments.
Overthrowing government, we have never said that we are going to give weapons to the people and bring them out and shoot down and throw them out and do this and do that.
I think very strong language
we want to bring in
public pressure, which is on record in the public meeting that took place in Lahore.
Public pressure.
I think that the record of what Mr. Shahbaz Sharif said was very, very clear. And I think that's not the sort of language that you use for violent overthrow when they said that we are going to...
No.
I think that, General Saab, you said a lot of things. Please let me also say a few words. The fact is that the PML-N is far from being a revolutionary party. Its entire track record from the time it was founded, seeded, nurtured and nourished, it was done under a general's umbrella and with a general's patronage. Because they happen to have been dismissed by a general and thrown out by a general, they have now very...
it helped.
They hurt a lot, right?
But it helped them.
It hurts them. And so now the only vicious attack for a long time was General Musharraf. As the elections are drawing clearer, of course, they see that there's the People's Party, which is the largest party in the country, and it has the largest vote bank. So, therefore, all the guns have been trained on President Zardari. But, I think it's very important for us to be very clear about what is a revolutionary party. A revolutionary party or a revolutionary idea or a revolutionary leader that really broke the way politics functioned in Pakistan was only one. and that was Mr. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto.
All right.
He brought a new style to politics, he brought a new idiom to politics, he brought a new dictionary to politics.
And does that
so
continue
I just
in
think
the
it's
current
important
People's Party?
now.
No, I think this is important. Has the People's Party maintained its goals,
I think
its
what the
ideals,
People's Party
its
has done
vision?
is it has certainly shifted into a different mode, in the sense that since it has been in government, now it has been in government, this is the 4th time the People's Party has been in government, and to be actually most accurate, this is the 5th time, because Mr. Bhutto did win those elections
in 1977.
in 1977, and even though the government did not last very long, because the generals made that move in an overnight coup. So I think that it is important to recognize that as Pakistan moves into democratic dispensation, which is why parties like PTI have the space to operate also. We have a free media, we have a free and open democratic system, we have a constitutional arrangement. There's a multi-party system in Pakistan.
Is the People's Party at all sensitive to the criticism coming its way?
The People's Party listens to criticism. We have been very open to criticism, and I think that you will see that on several occasions the People's Party has clearly heard loud and clear some of the issues that people are talking about. Let me tell you, for example, Balochistan. What is it that the people of Balochistan wanted? And General Saab is sitting right here, and of course I think he can speak to it.
Let me ask you a specific question.
We can talk about southern Punjab.
Just a minute. You called an all-parties conference on terrorism and on extremism. A resolution was passed. 50 parties participated, and yet your party has failed to nominate its own members for the committee that's supposed to implement all the decisions.
I think that's underway, but what is much more important to remember is that when the resolution was passed, the government started implementing that resolution. It did not wait for a committee to have its meeting and then move forward. The resolution on fighting terrorism and the resolution on countering extremism, militancy and insurgency, government has taken several actions, which is why you see the result of that in Pakistan today.
Mr. Hasan, do you see that the government has taken any action on those issues?
Not at all. I would like to hear one action, that the government has taken since the passage of that all parties resolution. But I would like to just point out what Shah Mehmood Qureshi has said. There are 3 or 4 very important points in that, and I think this indictment is coming from within the party, not outside the party. We have been saying so many of these things in the past. Somebody who has been the foreign minister of People's Party government, for 3 years, he has come out with 3 to 4 very important statements. Number 1, he said President Zardari has failed to safeguard national interests. Now, this is as serious as it can get. He's the president of the country, and his own former foreign minister has leveled this very serious charge against him. 2, that the PB's killers, are known to the government, and yet no effort is being made to trace them and to catch them. And 3, about Mansoor Ijaz's statement, that he has been sticking to. He has come up with something which is very relevant. If the government says that it did not do what Mansoor Ijaz alleges it to have done, it must send him a notice, which the government has not sent. And he said the same thing about the government of the US also, that if they say that they did not receive any such letter, they should also send a notice to Mansoor Ijaz. The fact that none of the 2 governments has done it, he concludes that possibly what he said was correct. Mansoor Ijaz said was correct. So this is an indictment. Sorry, let me finish. It's an indictment that is coming from within the People's Party, and it is as serious as it can get. So far as General Saab's statement is concerned, let me say that I think they're still trying to wake up from the shock of the 30th of October, and they possibly have not registered what Khan Saab said in that very rally also. The change that we are envisaging to bring in this country is basically a change that is going to remove the symbols of corruption and exploitation. And he very clearly pointed out those symbols of corruption and exploitation. All the symbols, that the traditional political mafias of this country have used for all the 64 years of this country has been there. We stand for changing all that, bringing about a system, that delivers at the grassroots level to the people. And today, yesterday, he explained it further.
Because yesterday, Mr. Khan was on the show and he explained
it further. And he gave a very elaborate presentation of what he really wanted to do. So I think I would request General Saab to at least listen attentively to what is being said, and not come up with this question again and again.
I'm going to take a short commercial break over here. When we return, we are, of course, going to talk about that critical memo that Mansoor Ijaz said that he had delivered to Admiral Mike Mullen through because he said it came to him from a senior person in the Pakistan government. Now, of course, Mansoor Ijaz has gone ahead and released portions of messages from BBM, BlackBerry messages, SMS messages and emails redacting the name of the Pakistani official. So we are going to talk about what exactly that memo means, what it means for Pakistan's national security and the body politic. This and more after a short break. Please stay with us. And welcome back to Witness. A hot debate, of course, continued during the program as well. But General Qadir, I'll come straight to you first before I give Ms. Wazir a chance to respond. This whole series of this Mansoor Ijaz memo that he's supposed to have delivered to Admiral Mike Mullen on the say-so of an unnamed Pakistani official or diplomat. What is your party making of this?
I think I should not say more than what Qureshi Saab said. The government of Pakistan has nothing to do with it and they are denying it. And government of US Mike Mullen also, he said something.
He was rather vague about it.
I think very vague. I think they need to come out.
But do you believe that
that kind of memo very
could have been
frankly and
written?
openly about it? And if he has said something which had not been conveyed from here and it has not been received there, I think these two governments should sort out this fellow. They could sue him. They could take him to the court. It has brought them a lot of bad name.
Ms. Wazir,
Right.
Mansoor Ijaz sticking by his guns, saying that memo
Quatrina,
is real.
you know, Mansoor Ijaz has a history. And I will go back almost 20 years from the time that he started coming to Pakistan, trying to walk in the corridors of power, as he said, and that he would befriend those in power so that he could be useful to them in Washington. Now, Mansoor Ijaz is not a new phenomena on the scene, and I think that he does have a controversial reputation. He claims, because he's changed his story, he claims that he did not himself deliver that communication to Admiral Mike Mullen. He says that he gave it to somebody who was extremely close to the Admiral, and that person knows Admiral Mike Mullen exceedingly well, and so he was confident that that message was delivered, and he was told that it had been delivered. He further goes on to say that he does not know Mike Mullen, and nor does Mike Mullen know him. So there is now a change in the story, first of all. The second thing, which I think is somewhat disputable, is that anything as secret and as important and as earth-shaking as he claims it to be is being exchanged on a BBM, BlackBerry messages, SMSs. This is not how important messages are transferred.
BBM is supposed to be
BBM
the
is very
safest,
secure, one of the
safest,
safest
the safest
secure
means of
But
communication
the fact
in
is that
today's world.
BBMs can be saved. They may not be intercepted,
They
but they
usually
can
are
be
saved.
saved,
Yes.
right?
Intercepted at all, that's
So
right.
the fact is that you don't do that. I think even an amateur who is trying to engage in some sort of, espionage tactics.
Let me put it
wouldn't
this
do
way.
that. And the
Does
third
your
thing,
government
and the
fear-
third thing is that Admiral Mike Mullen's own statement, his office spokesman's statement is, we don't know if such a communication was delivered. We receive thousands of letters every day. It may be one of them, Admiral Mike
Maybe
Mullen.
one of them.
Maybe one of them.
He has said
So
that.
there comes a confession.
You know,
It may be one of them.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about
In
the
other words,
content
in
of the
other
memo.
words,
Let's talk
Mike
about the
Mullen
content
has
of that memo.
categorically said, I have not seen it and I cannot recall it. Now, there are a lot of question marks around this sort of thing, but in any case, I don't think that it really requires much,
What are the
discussion or
charges?
importance,
Shah Mehmood Qureshi has
because
also
I don't
asked the
think that
Supreme
it
Court to
carries
take
much
notice of
weight.
it.
Right.
No, that may be the right way to go about it.
The Supreme Court
The
should
Supreme
take
Court
Well,
notice
we
of
will go
this.
to the Supreme Court on it. The fact is that, these sorts of sermons that are given to government, that if somebody has said something in the press, that you should get up and go to court on it. I mean, let the government decide, let the United States government decide.
I think it is for the people
why
to decide,
suing Mr.
not
Mansoor
for the government
Ijaz?
to decide.
Why
Because
should
the
we
article was
sue?
printed
Why
in the
should we
Financial
sue
Times.
every single person who comes out with something absolutely ludicrous in the press? Now, I think that
Like
the
the
fact
Supreme
is,
Court of Pakistan?
No, I did not say
They
that.
have come
Mr.
out with
Raoof Hasan.
adjudications, which
If
the government
you
has
are-
not,
don't
which
put-
has not complied
Do
with.
not put words in my mouth. I did not say the Supreme Court. If you have an issue with the Supreme Court, you can go to the Supreme Court. The
Okay.
fact is that here is a man who's exceedingly controversial, and if everybody is denying it, so we really don't see this as significant enough to pay any attention.
Are you going to worry about it if he actually releases the names, which he said he will?
When it happens, we will see.
Okay, so
We are
you're going
not
to cross that.
prejudging it.
Okay.
We are going to cross that bridge when we come to it.
All right. Now, General Saab, of course, a crucial question over here is that your party says it is not willing to give this party any more time. Where exactly is this country headed? I mean, everybody's asking me the same question. Are there going to be riots on the streets? Are you going to have mass shutdowns? Are you going to be blocking the country? What is going to happen? And much of the reference that I hear is 1977. Is the Pakistan Muslim League N planning that kind of agitation where you have what are called wheel jam strikes and so forth? What's going to happen? Because this country is waiting and worried.
Quatrina, riots, shutdowns, this, that, and all which you're talking about, they are not the legal ways of bringing pressure on the government. Right?
Okay.
This is not the way. Right? We are not going to resort to these things, shutdowns and riots and killings and this, that, and all. No, not at all. We have got our government there in Punjab, and it's our responsibility to ensure that law and order is being enforced the way it's supposed to be.
I have to ask you, what are you planning?
Yes, sir. We have said we have already given a program that we are going to initially hold rallies all over the country. Thereafter, we might resort to marches, etc.
A long march in Isabad.
And at the end, we might think of something. We will keep thinking over it. We will keep talking about it. We will keep observing the situation, and thereafter we'll continue giving our program. And ours is a democratic party. We sit down, we decide as to how to go about it.
Are you going to, I guess this is the obvious question, Nawaz Sharif has said that he's going to also hold a rally at Minar-e-Pakistan, like did Tehreek-e-Insaf, and then that would be the finale, which would then be the prelude to a long march on Islamabad.
Probably it might be the last event. So far it has not been decided that it's going to be the last.
Okay, this is what was reported. So that's
so far we have not thought about it. You know, it's just a thinking thought which has come into his mind. He might do it that way.
Okay.
We might do it that way.
And one quick question to you again before I go to Mr. Raoof Hasan. Chaudhry Nisar Ali has said, because Tehreek-e-Insaf has been saying that the PML-N is corrupt, the People's Party is corrupt, and so Chaudhry Nisar has said, fine, go to court. So what is the plan of the PML-N to deal with the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf challenges?
It's just like this, that, you know, I turn my face to Mr. Raoof and tell him that you are bad and you are this and you are that, you are corrupt and this, that and all. With regard to corruption or any bad thing which is required to be brought against a political party, one should be specific and come into specific terms and say, here is the corruption that you have done, this matter, that matter. So far, not even a single minister of Punjab government has been blamed for corruption. So far, no scandals of Punjab government has come to the fore, number one.
The PTI is talking about the leadership of the
we
PML-N.
have been for two short stints in the past also, we had been in the government. We had been in Punjab government as well as at the federal level. Again, there's nothing in specific which is being talked about us, right?
Okay.
They should go to the public. They should expose us. They should tell the public this is the corruption that we have done, and public will see as to what, whether there, how much of weight is there in the allegation which is being.
I say Mr. Raoof Hasan is taking out documents here.
The best would be that that's very good. I think the best would
allegations
be instead of
easy
Mr.
to
Raoof, it should be Khan Saab who should come out, and he was talking to I think to Mir Saab.
Yes, he was on a colleague's program yesterday. He was on Witness as well.
He's the senior vice president. He might do it.
Mr. Raoof Hasan, obviously the question is, allegations are easy to make, but and the old adage where there's smoke, there's fire, not necessarily true when it comes to proving charges of corruption.
Well, we have cited many instances of corruption. I think one of your programs, I have actually shown some documents also proving, that the government of Punjab has indulged in corruption, which has cost the national exchequer. I gave 4 names, and I have with me a document, which is a handwritten document. It's a confessional statement by Ishaq Dar. This is 43 pages.
A confessional statement written by
having
Ishaq Dar,
laundered
Senator Ishaq
money
Dar.
regarding Hudaybiyah mills. This is a confessional
Instead of
statement.
presenting these in TV talk shows, why aren't you taking this to court?
We will. We are thinking about it. We will. And this case, I think, is already pending before the Supreme Court. And we're going to ask the Supreme Court to open these cases, to start proceedings on these cases. This is an open and shut case, basically.
Okay.
This is a this is.
Again,
I haven't seen that document, so
this is a case which is there in the court. They should follow it there. If it's proved, well, if it's proved, that's it, and we'll face the consequences.
And there's so many other cases.
So any allegation, which is pending in the court, any FIR which is registered, that's not.
No, we have a different opinion. When so many, when the political leadership, which ostensibly is the second largest party of Pakistan today, second largest parliamentary party of Pakistan today, when so many fingers are being pointed in that direction, it is their moral and constitutional obligation to prove that they are not dirty. They must do it. They must do it. And pending that, they must forsake their responsibilities, governmental responsibilities at least. And that applies equally to the People's Party government also. Every minister, in fact, Shah Mehmood Qureshi has said that people involved in BB's killings, are part of part of the Gilani cabinet today.
Okay.
He said it.
Shah Mehmood, Pervez Musharraf being in power 10 years or 9 years and not bringing in even a single case against our party or party leadership and taking it to the NAB, which was completely under his control. He spent millions of rupees against People's Party and tried to bring in cases and try to prove it. He could not have even a single case against our party. And that's a good enough proof. I don't think no one else, I don't think any other party could be that much inimical.
Well, actually, the basic difference, their leadership sought forgiveness and left the country,
It's time for me to break.
They sought forgiveness and left the country.
Forgiveness, sorry.
10 years. 10 years. You kept lying to the people on that.
I will come back to you.
Corruption
I could say that you were
accountability,
lying.
I'm sorry.
Katrina.
We are not lying
It was the
at all. I mean, Nawaz Sharif went away
I
for 10
don't
years.
want
The
this
whole family went away for 10 years.
Ms. Wazir Ali,
And they
it's
kept
time-
lying to
This
the
is
people of
very
this country
unfair.
for 10 years.
Okay, I'll let the two of you.
Leadership is lying. I could say
I
that
will
you are
get.
lying.
I will get. Let the two of you will have free time to talk to each other because Shahnaz Wazir Ali has to leave. So Shahnaz, one point I would like to ask you very specifically. In this program last week, Senator Muhammad Ali Durrani came here and said there's a program called Stolen Assets Recovery Program by the United Nations. The state of Pakistan can request the United Nations, the investigative agencies will find money tucked away in Swiss banks and return it to this country. Is your government going to make any such request to the United Nations to bring back any money that has been stolen by anyone and sorted away in international banks?
This program on the recovery of stolen money and returning it to the states actually has come up more in the context of the recent changes that have taken place in the Middle East.
Yes, and India has started it too.
Iraq and various other countries,
Libya,
and in
Tunisia,
Libya, and
Egypt.
Tunisia, and Egypt, and so forth.
Is this government going to make that request?
The fact is that if there is an arrangement, if there's a framework, and if there's an international mechanism through which you can recover money, any government can do it.
Is your government going to do it?
I don't know if there's going to do it or not, but what I'm saying is if there is a need to do something like that, and if there is an international mechanism, then whether it is our government or any other government, they can do it.
There may be money sorted away in Swiss
I have not looked at it.
Of different political leaders. This has been around
this
since
is the
the past 30
multi-billion-dollar
years.
question. And I'm not a banker, and I'm not a lawyer, so and I don't know, and I don't operate people's bank accounts. So I would not know if there is money abroad. What I do know is that when PML-N was in government, after the Pakistan People's Party's second government was dismissed, it was Mr. Saifur Rahman who was given the responsibility for establishing what was called the Ihtisab Bureau. And that Accountability Bureau, the Ihtisab Bureau, spent enormous amounts of money. And 3 years plus in trying to track corruption, prove corruption, and track assets, hidden assets. And they were not able to do it. They had everything. There were a 2/3 majority government sitting there. So you see, I think that let's not cloud the issues. There is law today more than anything else. The independent judiciary is there. If there is an allegation against anyone, people should go to court.
Okay, I'm going to take a short commercial break over here. I'd like to thank you, Ms. Wazir Ali, for having joined us today. I know you have another commitment. I appreciate your having taken us time. We're going to take a short break. We're going to be right back. Please stay with Witness. And welcome back to Witness. We are going to continue our discussion here. Of course, Shahnaz Wazir Ali of the People's Party had a prior commitment, and we really appreciate the fact that she was able to join us for the time that she did. But General Baloch, now, of course, both of you and Mr. Raoof Hasan, both of you earlier got into a bit of a heated debate while Shahnaz was talking. But the really important question over here, Mr. Raoof Hasan, actually, I think I'm going to put this to you. Shahnaz Wazir Ali was right. Before the break, she said there was the Ihtisab Bureau under Saifur Rahman. And in fact, many people in the People's Party described that as a major witch hunt conducted by the PML-N against the People's Party. And then you had Musharraf's National Accountability Bureau, which went after the PPP and the PML-N. Nobody in this country has ever been convicted of corruption in this country.
Zardari and Benazir were convicted, a suspended conviction in the Swiss cases. They were given the suspended conviction in the Swiss cases.
That was legalized.
President Zardari was also convicted in the BMW case. These convictions...
Let's not talk about those because Shahnaz is left. So I don't want to talk about that.
But if you put me the question, so obviously I would need to answer the other question, about this mechanism to recover money from the Swiss banks. This mechanism is there, and it has been used by at least 2 countries to recover a lot of money. Now, the fact that the People's Party government is not going to do it is because if they do that, if they send a letter to the Swiss government to recover that money, most of that money is going to be their money, which they do not want to bring back to this country. So obviously,
again,
nobody is going to follow up on
allegations are easy to make.
But they haven't done anything about it. The other governments, of the world have already taken the initiative to recover their national assets.
Okay,
why is it that the People's Party government has not done it so
far? Will your
far?
party demand that all assets that are illegally obtained, stashed away in Swiss banks or the Grand Cayman Islands or any of these other offshore banking places, the United Nations now has a mechanism, and the investigation is done by professionals. They take a commission of the money that they recover and they return the rest of the money to you. Will your party support this initiative?
100% we will be supporting it.
Even if they are members of your own party who may be caught up in this?
Okay. Yes, let them be caught if they have done something illegal that you said.
Right.
If there is an illegality in the money which has been thrashed or kept away and it's requires to be brought back legally, yes, we will be fully supporting it, and we will rather bring in a bill like this once we come into power.
This should actually be added to the indictment against the People's Party government, that they're not doing it they've not done it in spite of a passage of almost a year. And you know that the government of India has also moved. They have recovered 20%. Why is it that the government of Pakistan is not moving? Why? Because they're afraid that it is their own money. They know that it is their own money, which they do not want to forsake and bring back to Pakistan. So they stand indicted. They really stand indicted.
They stand indicted. Well, strong words there. But General Baloch, the tricky part over here now I have Tehreek-e-Insaf at PML-N. Ostensibly, one would think that you have a mutual goal, and that is to remove the current dispensation. But it seems that your party is at cross purposes with each other.
I think, telling you very frankly, it's difficult for me to say that, to act as party spokesman. But I think our leadership could consider agreeing on just one point agenda, and that is going on against Mr. Zardari and his government. And that's about all, just one point. And once they are removed, thereafter then one could bring in one's manifesto. Both
if I
parties
can
could
quote
bring in
Mr.
their
Imran
own.
Khan, who was on my program yesterday, he said all he wants before he will consider any kind of alliance is that every political leader should declare his or her assets, not just ones that are declared before the Election Commission, but other assets that are salted away or hidden away or whatever. Is your party willing to say, yes, we've made
Yes,
decisions?
why not? Quatrina, our assets are already declared. Assets of whose assets? Mr. Nawaz Sharif's assets, Mr. Shahbaz Sharif's assets, Hamza Sharif's assets, my assets, and so on and so assets. Anybody who becomes a member of the parliament, he has got to declare his assets. Now, the only thing that they could look for, an illegality or illegally made money or anything which is wrong with the declaration of the assets, they should look into it and they should bring it to the fore and let the public to know about it as whatever wrong declaration we have made.
Okay.
We're not hiding it. I mean, there's nothing new about it. If there is something new, they should educate us and they should tell us, look, this is how it's supposed to be done, or you have not done it in the correct manner. And thereafter then we could be questioned as to whether we will declare our assets or not. Okay. Otherwise, we are members of the parliament. There's a chief minister who is sitting, and Mr. Nawaz Sharif had contested the election many a times, and he had declared his assets then also. And if he is required to again go for the parliamentary elections, and if he tries to become a member, he has to declare his assets.
You're trying to force
if
him.
There is an illegality, if there is an illegal way, there is something, there's some corruption, etc., which has been done, they should point it out, and they should take us to the public. They should expose us to the public. It is their right.
You have the right to expose them to the public, you have the right to go to court, but the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf seems to shy away from taking the final step of going to court.
No, we will not shy away. We, as our CEC, Central Executive Committee, it met yesterday, and we have come up with this statement that we are going to constitute a committee. That committee actually has already been constituted, which is going to look into these issues, and we will come up, Our contention, party's contention, prima facie has been that the assets declared before the Election Commission are not even a fraction, a small fraction of the real assets. We're not talking about the declared assets, we're talking about the undeclared assets. And let me assure you that those undeclared assets run into billions. That is what we're talking about too. We are going to exercise all options to make sure that these hidden assets are brought back to this country. When PTI government, inshallah ta'ala, would come into power. And we will take recourse to all possible measures, both within the country as well as outside the country. This is our commitment. This is our commitment to the people of this country too. Another point, Jan Saab said, that, we could possibly, converge on a one-point agenda, to remove the Zardari government. I tried to explain it in the beginning also. We're not targeting one political party as such. We're targeting the symbols of corruption and exploitation. And I dare say that both People's Party government as well as the governments of PML-N in the past and in the present in Punjab, they constitute those symbols of exploitation. So our move is not just to get rid of Zardari. Our move is to get rid of these symbols so that nobody could come into power in this country and continue exploiting the people of this country. That unfortunately is what has happened.
Idealism.
So yes, idealism.
Idealism.
Yes, yes.
Baloch,
That is what we live by.
literally 30 seconds. I'm out of time. Briefly, if you could respond to that.
Briefly, I fail to understand as to what does Mr. Raoof say with regard to symbol of corruption. We are against that, but we are not against Mr. Zardari.
Where is it that we find
just a minute. Once it came to corruption, he had only one case, which is sub judice in the Supreme Court. It's
many other cases I would not
nothing
like to
more than that. Nothing. And then he's talking about it. That means this government is perfectly okay, and they want them to continue. Because
you want this government to continue, Mr.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We've already shouted our course.
They can't agree on one point with regard to the removal. I said, I gave a suggestion that, we can agree on one point. They said, no, we are not against the government. We are against the symbols of corruption. Symbols of corruption as
People's Party government and PML-N government.
As per his perception.
Okay.
I could say that once they come in power, they are going to be far more corrupt than what we are. I will say that many corrupt people are being gathered together by their party, and they are going to be no better than what they were in their previous parties. And they are going to involve themselves in exactly that sort of activities which they were doing in the past.
Quatrina,
and it's all allegations. It's all allegations.
Let's
It's
not
just an
forget.
opinion. It's just an opinion.
It's just an opinion.
Let's not forget
Everybody has got the right to his opinion. He is saying something. I could say a similar thing with regard to
because we are out of time, so I don't want this to, but if you have 5 seconds, I can give you.
Let's not forget, that Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz is ruling 52% of this country, even at this moment in time. And what have they delivered in the past 4 years to the people? Practically nothing. There are numerous instances of corruption that I can cite here.
There are no corruption cases. There are no corruption charges against us. And it's far, far better than any other provincial government which is there today.
I will leave it here there. I'd like to thank my guests. Okay, you have your right to disagree. I'd like to thank my guests.
I would have come up with so many documents, which
I'd like to thank my guests.
corruption, in the Punjab government.
I need to thank you, gentlemen. I need to officially thank you. Lieutenant General Retired Abdul Qadir Baloch and Mr. Raoof Hasan. Thank you so much for having joined me here tonight and with us. And of course, earlier we were joined by Shahnaz Wazir of the People's Party. I thank her for her time as well. One of the things that is clear to all of us who are watching the political landscape right now in Pakistan, and the one thing that we can tell you is that there are upheavals coming up. There's no doubt that rallies of the kind that are going to be held by the Pakistan Muslim League and by the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf will in many ways paralyze life in those cities, definitely, because that kind of mass movement of people definitely creates those kind of issues. A long march towards Islamabad. The PML-N has, it's again one of the things that we're watching is that the temperature is heating up. The assembly has gone into session again. So we're going to have to see what the PML-N does inside the assembly as well. That's going to be equally important to what is being said at the political rallies. We can only test the political temperatures for you, but you have to draw your own conclusions about what's going to happen. But we assure you that you will be able to witness everything that's happening in this country with us here on Express 24/7. Quatrina saying Khuda Hafiz from Islamabad.